On the 23rd of July 2024, court assessors will sum up the case, and on the 2nd of August 2024, they will render their opinion. Now, this schedule was confirmed in a document sent by the Deputy Registrar, Her Worship Hatanga Hati Juliet. The judges delivering the ruling include Justice Micheal Erubu, Stephen Mubiru, Duncan Gaswaga, and Justice Andrew Bashaija. Now, the Immigration Office intensified its operations against foreign nationals illegally working in Uganda over the weekend. At least 135 foreigners were arrested, while 200 were cautioned and directed to update their facilities. Now, the office deputy spokesperson Arithia Nakiwala called upon Ugandans who applied for Saudi Arabia visas but changed their minds to pick their passports. We have more in this story.
The spread of information depicting the plight of Ugandans working in Arab countries has prompted many to concentrate on earning a living at home.
Earlier on, we had talked about labor companies retaining people's passports. This is actually wrong, and it's against the law. Labor companies are not supposed to hold these people's passports. However, there are still those companies that are still holding people's passports. This is not acceptable.
In a period of 1 month, the Immigration Office has registered at least 500 abandoned passports at different embassies. These passports contain expired and cancelled visas. The office is calling upon bearers to collect them.
Ugandans who applied for visas to the Saudi Arabian embassy and did not pick them should actually come to Public Relations Office at the headquarters and pick them. There are over 100 passports that were returned back by the Saudi Arabian embassy because these people applied but did not pick their passports. So if you know you went and applied for your visa and did not pick your passport, please come by and pick it.
In other operations by the Immigration Office, 135 foreign nationals were arrested for working in Uganda illegally.
The arrested ones, however, are in custody and will be taken to court, and relevant penalties will be given. These include fines, imprisonment, deportations, among others. The subjects that were arrested include Eritreans, Ethiopians, South Sudanese, Somalis, Congolese, and Chinese nationals.
Meanwhile, Police Flying Squad unit in Kampala Metropolitan arrested 13 suspects over car robberies. These are accused of stealing vehicles and altering their number plates.
So this vehicle was impounded. The time when these criminals were interrogated, we entered the case of aggravated robbery, and it is being investigated in Kumi. We have 2 suspects with us who went through our investigation process, and as we speak are remanded in Kumi prison, and that is Amoit George and Taika Geoffrey.
In Moroto District, police recovered an SMG rifle with 14 rounds of ammunition and 4 suspects arrested. It is believed these have been using the firearm to engage in criminalities like extortion and cattle stealing. Abdunasil Lobwama and Rogers Komagum for UBC.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni has urged ministers to join him in fighting corruption since the original government accounting officers to fight the vice have failed. Mr. Museveni acknowledged that that corruption has become too much and that he has renewed efforts to directly fight the vice. He was addressing the cabinet ministers permanent secretaries and NRM top leadership at National Leadership Institute in Changkwanzi. Philip Aguta is in Changkwanzi and sent us this story.
But when he's tall, he thinks
he doesn't know some of us started working.
For ministers, permanent secretaries, SEC members, and HE the President, Vice President, and Prime Minister will be in attendance. This retreat is an introspection retreat. It is a retreat where we shall be putting a torch in ourselves to see what has gone wrong. What are the performance shortfalls in the public service? What is causing these shortfalls? What are the practical solutions? What are the responsible centers and the time frames for rectifying whatever is going wrong? And the objectives of this retreat are mainly four. One, as I've said, we are going to identify the performance shortfalls.
Now that the accounting officers have let themselves down, because the accounting officers, you have not let down anybody, you have let yourselves down. Because this is your mandate. We are coming in directly. This is my person who wrote in directly. We are coming in directly, not indirectly. My secretary, please correct that. We are coming in directly. Apart from the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, I'm also setting up both a tax investigation unit and an accountancy and audit unit. This country of yours has got a lot of money. I'm now convinced that you have a lot of money. First of all, there is under collection of taxes. That group of, I hope you call the tax fellow. Muslims, did he come? You should call him, let him come. There's a lot of under correction. I'm now getting a lot of information. So there is under collection, but also there is massive stealing of what is collected. Now you can imagine how much more we could do if we plug both. That's what the VP was saying. If we plug both the under collection and the stealing. Apart from the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, the one of Brigadier is okay. I'm also setting up both a tax investigation unit and an accountancy and audit unit. They will be able to investigate all tax evasions, under declarations, money diverted by Parliament, and stolen, etc. Because this money diverted by Parliament, from what I gathered when I moved in, was apparently for two purposes. Some of the diversion was just selfishness. Divert the money to do a Kasumoro road from nowhere to nowhere in my constituency, so that they know that I'm working very hard. Oh yeah, M7, oh yeah. Some people, that's what they wanted. But in so doing, you undermine, you fragment.
Then usually what happens is the clash is as a result of lack of awareness about
That was President Yoweri Museveni addressing members of cabinet, NRM officials, and of course other government officials at Kyankwanzi, and of course talking seriously there about fighting corruption. To other news now, and Director of NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Sen, has made a compelling call for all Ugandans to unite in the fight against corruption, emphasizing that President Museveni cannot combat this issue alone. Seninde's remarks were delivered while presenting a report on President Museveni's recent Thanksgiving ceremony held last week in Kololo. Sudat Kaye reports.
In her address, Seninde expressed deep gratitude to President Museveni and First Lady Janet Museveni for their presence at the event, which celebrated the President's achievements and legacy.
That it is indeed God who gave us His Excellency the President as a gift of a leader, not only to Uganda, but also to the East African community as a region and Africa as a continent.
The July 5th ceremony at Kololo Independence Grounds was a significant occasion marked by a massive turnout. Seninde says it shows an overwhelming support from Ugandans.
So we want to thank everyone, every Ugandan who endeavored to come, regardless of any kind of support that was extended or not. People came in big numbers. We want to thank you, Ugandans.
She also extended her gratitude to legislators and well-wishers who supported individuals to attend.
There was a lot of confusion and chaos in markets, but Muzei solved them by sending away the landlords. And the landlords were not just mere people. Those landlords were civil servants. They get their salary from the government and they have stalls, lockups in markets. So that one, we really have to appreciate him.
Seninde praised the unity and spirit of Ugandans, which is a testament to collective respect for the President's dedication to serving Uganda.
So there is no way we would not work with anybody, because as far as I'm concerned as a national mobilizer, as a director mobilization of the NRM party, anyone who adds a brick to the mobilization and the development of NRM, and mostly supporting His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, is warmly welcome. And I must categorically state this. I welcome everybody. We welcome and bring everybody on board. But anybody who fights President Museveni and who fights NRM, I cannot work with you.
Seninde underscored collective responsibility in fighting corruption.
So we must agree that if we have to fight corruption, it is not a one-man's show. It is not President Museveni's show as a person, much as he's a leader. We must come out, all of us, and support him. I want to say that as he fought the guerrilla war from Lukomwa in 1986 and won it, is the same way he's going to win this war, if we all come out and support him.
Special recognition was given to revolutionary comrades, historical figures, former government leaders, NRM party leaders, and heads of government ministries and agencies. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Now, FDC spokesperson John Kikonyogo has announced that the party is calling for a referendum to determine whether the Ugandan parliament should continue to exist. At a press conference held at the Forum for Democratic Change headquarters in Nantjanankumbi, Kikonyogo cited widespread corruption within parliament as a primary reason for this drastic measure, arguing that parliamentarians are failing to perform. We have more in this story.
Kikonyogo referenced the era of Idi Amin Dada, which operated without a parliament, yet according to him managed to achieve a significant progress.
Many things were built during that time. I feel bad to compare Amin to the government today, but during Amin's time, Serena was built without parliament. Conference Center was built without parliament. Uganda Airlines was there without parliament, and we had a lot of planes, not like these ones, where we have 2 or 3. We had an airline in Uganda then without parliament. We had a satellite. We built a satellite in Mukono without parliament. So I think they should put a referendum there. Some of us will campaign for no parliament and we go to the people. We tell them during our ministry all these things were done without parliament.
He also pointed to the large budget allocation to Rocco Construction Limited, citing the incomplete state of the new parliament building as lack of oversight.
The parliament was telling us it's the ministers who bring those ministerial statements to the budget committee. And these same ministers sit in the cabinet. They are the one who bring the budget parliament and then they pass behind. Now what's the use of cabinet now? They sit every Monday, what do they discuss? Whatever they discuss there, then they go behind and then they come to parliament and ask for more money. What's the use? And these people are eating our money, you people.
Since last month, government officials, MPs and ministers have been living in fear of arrest due to corruption investigations, with some already jailed.
In parliament, that they have been diverting money from where it's supposed to be for now 4 years. And this was even said by the PPS, if I'm not out of my reckoning. Now the people of Uganda reached a stage that if the people who are supposed now to check the government on excesses are being accused by the president of misappropriating funds, people of Uganda are now asking, do you need parliament?
FDC announced a national mobilization tour beginning on the 20th of this month, 2024.
And we expect the people of Kasese to do the needful. Already, they are in high gear, preparing for our interaction with them and e-registration. E-registration is already going on, but we want to give it a boost on that day when we are there.
Charity Nahabwe and Jamil Sekaja, UBC News, Kampala.
Still with the FDC, and former FDC President Dr. Kizza Besigye has emphasized that combating corruption needs a fair and accountable system with effective checks and balances. He was addressing the press and discussing the state of the nation, highlighting growth and prioritizing areas to improve people's livelihood at Katonga offices here in Kampala.
Former FDC President Dr. Kizza Besigye has said the talk on corruption has caused suspected corrupt individuals to panic. He also praised Spire Sentongo's exhibitions on potholes and Parliament of Uganda. He called this a commendable effort.
Of corruption in Parliament. Of course, even all the others were exposure of corruption. The health sector, the roads which are terrible, and other places. But in Parliament, they were able to point specifically to monies that were being siphoned out of the budget.
He explains that fighting corruption requires a fair and accountable system with checks and balances, a system of detection and deterrence.
Development to impact people must be guided by policies that people have a say on. That's where it starts. We have no say on the priorities our money is applied to. We have no say. So although we want health care, only about 4%. The highest I think Uganda has spent on health care has been 7%.
He reiterates that the starting point to solving corruption is ensuring that people are having a voice, emphasizing that it is not about leadership.
Pointing especially to our elites to understand, to appreciate that the struggle the people of Uganda have today is not a struggle for leadership. We want 2026 to have meaning. We must have a new order in Uganda before 2026. Before the next election, we must work ourselves to get a new order in Uganda, where we have a say for ourselves.
Meanwhile, Besigye said that the independent leaders emphasized solving issues of ignorance, poverty and disease, which have not been addressed well in the 38 years of the NRM government.
But poverty, which is where the country must be concerned, that our young people who have no jobs, no hope, nothing, are impoverished. Our young people who are indeed running away at great risk to go to Arab countries, to go to other places to look for survival. This is the parents. Part of the poverty we are talking about is caused by attempting to educate children in the homes. The poverty, selling land, selling what?
Besigye also disagreed with the census exercise that has just been concluded and the preliminary results, saying Ugandan statistics are corrupt. I'm Nafka Farida and Mike Bakablindi.
To the courts of law now, where Buganda Road Magistrates Court has charged and remanded an alleged top ADF commander, Swale Abakar, on 4 counts of belonging to a terrorism organization and rendering support to the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF. Meanwhile, the hearing of the attempted murder case of General Edward Katumba Wamala, murder of his daughter Brenda Nantongo Kayonda, has flopped due to the absence of trial judges.
31-year-old alleged top ADF commander Swale Abubakar was extradited from Zambia by Ugandan security operatives. He has appeared before Chief Magistrate Leonard Kaizi at Buganda Road Chief Magistrates Court. Swale Abubakar has been charged with 4 counts of financing terrorism organization ADF, rendering support to ADF, and belonging to Allied Democratic Forces ADF.
Nemugula amasawa agali digital, nemugula power banks, n'ebintu ebirala bikozesebwa, era ne muyingiza abantu mu butujju, ne mubatwala e Congo, nga mukimanyi nti ekyo kye mwakola kwali kuyamba kubayeekera ba Allied Democratic Forces, ate ng'ekibiina ekyo kya butujju. Mwawa ekibiina kyo ADF eky'obutujju obuwagizi nga muno mwalimu okuŋŋaanya ssente bayise mobilizing funds n'okugula ebikozesebwa mu butujju ng'amasaawa, power banka n'ebintu ebirala bikozesebwa mu bulamu obwa bulijjo, era ne muyingiza abantu mu butujju ate ne mubatwala e Congo nga mumanyidde bulungi nti mwali mukola byali bikolwa ebiyamba ekibiina kino eky'abatujju okukola emirimu gyakyo.
Prosecution says the alleged offences were committed between 2018 in Uganda, Tanzania, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, and South Africa. Swale Abubakar was not allowed to take plea because this court has no jurisdictions to handle the offences against him. Swale Abubakar is facing these offences with Sulaiman in Subuga, who is in Kitalia government prison, on charges of unlawful possession of firearms.
We have information that he is remanded in Kitalia mini-maximum prison on other charges relating to firearm possessions. We pray for production warrant to issue against Sulaiman in Subuga for the next date that court shall give, so that the charges can be communicated to him.
The accused Swale Abubakar was remanded to Rosela government prison. Meanwhile, the hearing of the attempted murder case of General Edward Katumba Wamala, murder of his daughter Brenda Nantongo, and driver Luna Kayondo flops. This followed the absence of the 3 trial justices, Andobi Abasaija, Richard Wejuri, and Justice Winfred Nabisinde.
Which is that the head of the panel is away, that is Justice Andrew Bashija, is away in Kulu, is sitting in the case of Thomas Koyela, and as far as I know, the case is proceeding. This court is indeed not well constituted, as you have submitted, and considering that one of the judges of the panel is the resident judge of Jinja, there is a need for all the members of this panel, that's myself, Judge Wawire, the resident judge Jinja, and the head of the panel, to sit and agree or to consult and agree on the next date.
The accused who were in court intimated to court to use Luganda, Lusoga. During the trial, court was adjourned signed by Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Road safety now, and the Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety has intensified its weekly traffic operations following registration of 71 deaths and 333 injuries in 1 week, with 47% of the deaths being caused by motorcycle crashes. In a bid to curb fatalities, the Traffic Police spokesperson Micheal Kananura has issued safety tips to pedestrians while on the road.
Among those that died were 29 pedestrians, 28 motorcyclists, 6 passengers on motorcycles, 4 passengers in vehicles, 2 pedocyclists, 1 driver, and 1 other. Crashes on motorcycles contributed to 47% of the total death, followed by pedestrians, who contributed to 41%. The major causes of these road crashes were careless overtaking, which contributed to 26% of the total crashes, followed by speeding with 21% of the total crashes, and crashes due to following too close contributed to 10% of the total road crashes. Enforcement. This week, the following are the operations going to be carried out. All those without driving licenses, those with expired licenses, and those driving out of class. Borders without crash elements, reflective jackets, and those that violate rules of one-way. Those driving under the influence of alcohol. Those are the 3 major operations which are going to be conducted this week. The one of drink drive will be over the weekend.
Now, State Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, Kabuye Chofa-Togabye, has urged Mukono municipal leaders to supervise inspection works of Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Program to improve infrastructural development within Mukono Metropolitan Area. The minister's remarks came during the signing of the program's construction works between the contractors Sterling Civil Engineering Limited and Mukono Municipality in Mukono Town.
Greater Kampala Metropolitan Authority Urban Development Program, which is to cater for infrastructure development at a cost of $566 million to improve the road network, drainage system and workspaces like markets in the 9 entities of Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, was conceived by the Ugandan government through the Office of the President. Mukono Municipality is one of the beneficiaries of the program and has been the first to sign an 18-month contract with Sterling Civil Engineering Limited, the best bidders to do the construction works at a cost of 43.9 billion shillings. Lot 3 for selected road routes of Nasuti, Nakabago, Ntao, Bajoseta, Serrado and Chigunga links covering 9.72 kilometers will be improved.
Allow me to borrow the powers delegated to me and given to me by the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as delegated by His Excellency the President to hand over this contract to you. So congratulations. There's a lot of challenge and request from all of us that Mukono and the contractor do what they are supposed to do, so that when we are looking at other entities, we keep on pointing. We say Mukono was the first.
And I promise you that I will do not my best, more than my best, to make all of you happy.
State Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Authority Affairs, Kabuye Chofa-Togabye, asked Mukono municipality leaders to ensure they inspect the construction works.
Because everyone tunaba tulina audacity to stand out of the crowd and say, please muntunuulire nganze kubanga I've delivered. But you need to babuza bibuzo bingi. Everybody would have delivered. Chobula all the money 98%.
He advised the leaders to ask authorities to interpret the contract details.
Pretending that you know a lot of English. I don't even know things. I always ask them, interpret for me. Where is Olabe, where a culvert was supposed to be, where a something was supposed to be placed like an art. Katinavyo tumugambe na iwa tugamba in this section culvert ya 900 meters. Ngaba atadeo kana akatunuka 900 tia atukapimeko ingini ya tulade 600.
The Undersecretary in the Office of the President, Monica Edimacho Ejua, said the program is to overlook the implementation of a wide range of strategies.
To ensure, Honorable Minister, we implement Vision 2040, which has appeared like a dream. We implement National Development Plan 3.
The signing of the contract was witnessed by Mukono leaders, among whom were councillors, the Deputy RDC, Town Clerk, Deputy Mayor and Mukono District Woman Legislator Betty Namboza, to mention but a few, and they welcomed the program with open hands.
When these contractors come to work on our roads, they promise modern. The real load, they say, we shall also have walkways, plant trees, and then also do the street lighting. But eventually, when the projects come, these components are not part of the project.
Against the GMK project, but they were against us being moved to Kampala under the authority. So people need to differentiate between the two. Us joining the Metropolitan under its authority, and then working for us as Mukono under our jurisdictions. So the contestation was about us going to Kampala. We never resented.
Mukono needs this program, and as we sign the contracts now, we are very much aware that we are going to have infrastructure development and then revenue enhancement.
Meanwhile, legislator numbers reported to the minister contractors who breach assignments. Amwaiva Njuko and Patrick Chewalabi for UBC.
Now, the Dean of RDCs and resident city commissioners in Uganda, Justin Mbabazi, has cautioned fellow RDCs on reclaiming the NRM's glory in Wakiso District and Uganda as a whole in the upcoming elections. Mbabazi also asserted the need for all leaders in Wakiso District to support government in prioritizing all programs that uplift the livelihood of Ugandans. This was during an NRM leaders stakeholders reconciliatory meeting for the good of the party.
The NRM leadership in Wakiso District has moved to revive NRM support, projecting over 35% win in the 2026 general elections. The Dean of RDCs, Justin Mbabazi, has tasked all leaders and presidential representatives in the district to cooperate and achieve the projected target.
Purposely, we are meeting NRM leadership because as we talk, there is a registered association and Wakiso NRM Flag Bearers Association. It is an association which unites the NRM leaders who lost in 2021. It's part of reconciliation among the party members. So we want really to appreciate the entire leadership of Wakiso District and Chira Municipality for what has been really done today.
Mbabazi, who also the RDC for Wakiso District, has urged fellow RDCs to ensure all government programs achieve their intended purpose of poverty eradication.
This is a government program. It is our responsibility and roles as leaders to mobilize, to sensitize the low-income earners to make sure that they are all registered according, because I know since we have the deputy RDC here, we have the leadership of the town clerk, we have all assistant RDCs in Ichira, we have NRM leadership here to make sure that we sensitize the low-income earners to make sure that they all registered in this circle.
NRM leaders in Wakiso District attributed the failures of NRM in Wakiso to their leaders, who were given opportunity to lead the party, citing sidelining of cadres.
Of course, after elections, particularly after the primary elections, usually people get differences, and it's natural. But now we are building them, stop the fighting, in between, and then we can move together as a team, as an NRM team.
Leaders have started the process of reconciliation to rebuild the party support in Wakiso District. Michael Bakablendi for UBC News.
Now, over 800 million shillings is required to renovate the 46-year Mapera Bakateyamba home for the elderly in Nalkolongo, Rubaga Division. This was revealed by His Grace, the Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, Paul Semogerere, during the Sabasumba Annual Appeal Fund SAFU Launch 2024 here in Kampala.
The 46-year-old home is for destitute old people, but is challenged by rundown facilities and accommodation. Engineer Bakawa and sister in charge highlight the findings that informed the decision to undertake the planned renovations at the Mapera Bakateyamba home in Nalukolongo.
Now the launching is about the renovation of the home. For 40 years it has never been renovated, but now the floor, the ceiling, the sewage system, they all need renovation. Now the work altogether needs 80 million shillings Uganda.
The Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, His Grace Paul Semogerere, said that this year's contributions will be directed towards the rehabilitating of the home.
n'okutongoza entereza eno eya saafu ey'omwaka guno y'ebbiliyoni enamba enetuyamba okufuna ssente ezinaddaabiriza bagise elo block abayinginiya bagifuddaani Mapera home.
Meanwhile, the Archbishop planted trees at his residence as an event that preceded the launch of the Kampala Education Week, which was launched in all parishes of Kampala Archdiocese to save Mother Earth.
It's going to back to the communities because it shouldn't come from the communities. So we want the teachers, the parents, those who are on management committees, everyone who is involved in education enterprise to be aware of this. Because yesterday it was announced in all churches in our diocese, 73 of them. So the message went out not only to schools but to everyone in the diocese for them to know that this is what we are doing. And everyone is involved in education of children. It's not just the teachers, but the parents, the cooks, support staff, all these people are involved. So it is a community thing.
The Archdiocese has over 273 schools that will participate in tree planting, waste management during the Kampala Archdiocese Week from 7th to 12th of July 2024. Mario Nawori and Brian Biaruhanga for UBC.
We'll now take a short break, but we'll be returning with the latest in business. Do stay with us.
The Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, is wholly owned by the government of Uganda and was established to safeguard and promote Uganda's commercial interests in the petroleum sector. UNOC has two subsidiaries, the Uganda Refinery Holding Company, URHC, which will hold a 40% stake in the 60,000 barrel per day refinery and manage the development of Kabalega Industrial Park, and the National Pipeline Company Limited, NPC, in charge of pipelines, storage, and downstream business ventures. This subsidiary holds 15% interest in the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, ECOP. ECOP is a 1,445-kilometer long pipeline that will transport crude oil through 10 districts in Uganda to the port of Tanga in Tanzania. UNOC is also actively engaged in crude oil exploration, development, and production activities, and its participation role includes a 15% stake in the Tilenga, Nwoya, and Bulisa, and Kingfisher Development Projects, Chikure. UNOC also holds the exploration license for Kasuruban Block in Hoima, Bulisa, and Masindi. UNOC currently owns and manages the Ginger Storage Terminal and will build a 320 million litre capacity terminal in MPG called the Kampala Storage Terminal. At UNOC, we're harnessing the potential of Uganda's petroleum resources, forging a sustainable future and preserving the natural beauty of Uganda. UNOC, your partner in Uganda's oil and gas industry.
Amanya gange nze Namtebi Sharon nga nkolera wano wennyini Masaka Kirombe oba Makindye. Empangula gye nawanguddemu ssente mbadde nga nkozesa mobile money nga nsindika school fees w'omwana ku ssomero. Okutegeera nti mpangudde nze mutima neegambye nti kambalinde bamale okujja ndyoke nzikirize nti mpangudde. Kyennyinza okubagamba nti si byabafere weewaawo abafere gye bali naye ennamba eri emu yokka era bw'eba ekukubidde omanye eyo si yabafere. Mpulira bulungi nnyo era ndi musanyufu nnyo. Naye MTN mobile money mbebaza nnyo mwebale nnyo mwebalire.
Together we're unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their chariots and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior the skin. No more worries anymore. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow of a subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched in gold.
Hey, business people of Uganda, the Ugandan National Lottery is coming. It's the perfect opportunity to boost your business. Zimba your business by becoming an authorized Uganda National Lottery agent. By paying a security deposit of just 250,000 shillings, you will receive your very own Uganda National Lottery terminal, expert training from the pros themselves, and marketing materials to skyrocket your sales. And with a generous 5% commission on every ticket sold, the potential for earnings is limitless. Don't miss out. Act now and call us toll-free at 0800 33 44 33 to see if you qualify. Join us today and Zimba your business. Ituba Uganda is regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Let's have a look now at NRM. And when the NRM government came to power, decentralization was one of the policy reforms implemented successfully in the early 90s. Now, scholars say Uganda's decentralization policy commenced with a robust beginning, but later slowed down due to numerous challenges, including recentralizing powers over fiscal management, appointments of accounting officers, among others. Now, in our special report tonight, local government leaders say the policy has messed their operations, and electorates may punish them for the failure in delivering services effectively due to the loopholes in the current decentralization policy. They call for its immediate revision. Eddie Olwa gives us more.
To me, it has lost its meaning.
Implementation of the decentralization reforms in the early years from 1993 to 1997 was heralded as exemplary.
With management, you are talking of ideas.
This was evidenced by sound policy and legislative framework that gave local authorities autonomy to hire and fire their staff.
But when we did decentralization in 1993, without going into detail, human resources was mismanaged. Consequently, and gradually, the CAO, the town clerk, and a number of top district leaders were taken back to the central government because local government, particularly district councils, were abusing the powers they had.
And that one brought conflict between the local leaders and then the chief administrative officers, because there are times where decision could be taken cow would say, no, for me, I can't implement that. After all, I am from the center.
Local governments also collected taxes and received sizable grants from the central government.
And yet, local government depends so much on local revenue. And this is the local revenue they take away from us. So basically, if you have no resources, do you have any power? Because money is power.
Some scholars have argued that those gains have since been eroded to the extent that decentralization is now riddled with the policy failures and reversals.
So when we began the multi-party dispensation, new players come into the political scene, and therefore they started to bring in the politics into the implementation, where a lot of programs which should have been initiated at the local government level started coming from the center instead, and a number of powers were re-centralized.
Decentralization promised improved services and democratic practices. However, local government leaders insist the policy should be improved.
And we are given all our autonomous authority. You would see a difference in the districts. If you see a real decentralization go to Kenya, just our neighbors here, yet they picked it from what? From Uganda. Ugandans are very good at making policies, but very poor implementing their policies.
When I was in the council in Lira in 2005, you'll find that about 19% of the total budget, it was the money that goes to the district. But things kept on changing. There was a time that came to 15%. And recently, can you imagine, 9% of the national budget distributed to all the local government in the country?
No, first of all, they were collecting revenue and squandering at source. Ask one district government which has built a health center 3 on the local revenue, or a primary school on local revenue. Ask one of them.
Give us our money. Let us collect our money from here, and then we use it. We just account for it. Or if they are releasing the money, they should release the money on time, so that we can do the work. Staff are sitting doing nothing. Technical staff are just sitting doing nothing because the money's not there.
Lira University Don Dr. Jim Obonyo believes sending more resources to the lower administrative units would make more meaning because that is where the majority have tech services. Obonyo says stringent accountability strategies like Baraza would ensure accountability and transparency.
There are so many unfunded priorities in local government: rural road, water, educational infrastructure, health services, still a lot of gaps. So there is need for government to increase more resources to local government, maybe make it 30 to 40% of the national budget.
About 70% of district chairpersons failed to retain their seats in the last general election, largely because voters say they failed to deliver. Scholars believe district heads will continue to pay the price because electorates require services.
What do you expect people to say? There's a lot of complaint. The activity is there, the money is there in the system, but nobody listens to you.
As local leaders wage the battle for power, some citizens have also disagreed with them for failing to involve them in designing interventions directed to their communities.
Sometimes there are what they are called hybrid projects. These are projects that are meant to be within the decentralized unit, but you will find that there is someone in the names of contractor from the center. Behind that person, there is someone called the Godfather. Those are the dangerous people and will threaten your positions at the district level. Not also good for the decentralizations.
It leaves us in a limbo. We are unable to support our people.
They should raise productivity. And then they can go to the central government and say, this is our level of productivity. They meet the president every day. They meet the speaker every day. They should argue first among themselves what are the changes that they would want to see. And then they can distill that and bring them forth for discussion. Just complaining on the outside doesn't help them.
It's going to be a very hot issue.
Much of Fono advises leaders to complain formally to the right forum. Lira University professor Dr. Mwesigwa projects a stricter decentralization in the coming years because local governments have completely failed to reclaim their powers over the years.
Because the local actors have accepted to remain administrative units of the central government. So we can continue with that until such a time when we get those people who will be more robust, who we can fight for their powers and claim them back.
Whether or not this will come to a reality is a question that only time will tell. Ediolwa, UBC News.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to invest in agribusiness, manufacturing, tourism, infrastructure, health and education to improve the quality of life of Ugandans. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank.
We can do better.
Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
Hi, my name is Rachel Nduhuchiri and I am a Ugandan actress and the winner of the Africa Monologue Challenge 2023. Now, thanks to your immense support, the Africa Monologue Challenge Season 2 is coming to Uganda between July 25th and August 20th. Africa Monologue Challenge is looking for passionate Ugandan storytellers to take part in a Pan-African short film that will showcase Uganda to the rest of the world. To be a part of this, all you have to do is weave a captivating narrative that captures Uganda's cultural heritage while fostering connections between 10 diverse individuals from 10 African countries. This short film will be shared to over 50 film festivals. Now, to find information on the AMC 2024 finalists, visit www.africamonologue.com. Please submit your short script, which should be 10 pages for a short film between 10 to 15 minutes, to africamonologue@gmail.com before 30th June 2024. Now, let's talk about rewards. The selected script will have the writer's full name in the end credits. You will get a chance to collaborate with amazing filmmakers from all over the world. You will get a small token for your creativity and you remain with full ownership of your script. Let's work together to create a Pan-African film that will echo African stories throughout the world.
Welcome back, and we are sorry, we do apologize for that technical glitch, but now let's look at business news. And government officials are calling on media professionals to highlight the country's positive attributes rather than focusing on the negative sentiments. The call was made during a meeting with government communicators and the media hosted by the State House Investors Protection Unit head, Colonel Edith Nakalema, here in Kampala.
During the meeting, Col Nakalema urged media professionals to focus on reassuring investors and tourists about Uganda's economic stability and growth opportunities. She noted that effective communication is crucial for investors to identify viable opportunities and for boosting overall investor confidence. Col Nakalema further stressed the importance of disseminating accurate and relevant information about government priorities.
Government communicators play a significant role in promoting and reassuring investors and tourists about the prospects of our country's economy, and in particular, you are key in these two areas, in my view, which we all have a role to play in its growth. And His Excellency the President has consistently been telling us that we all have a role to play to ensure that we earn a living and make other people's lives better. Ministries, departments and agencies, as well as the private sector representation here today. This engagement underscores the significance of the way we communicate in a manner which we believe is necessary to protect investors and tourists, as well as facilitating wealth creation for our motherland.
Professor Pamela Mbabazi, the chair of the National Planning Authority, encouraged communicators to contribute insights on enhancing Uganda's appeal to investors and tourists.
I want us to really think at a national level. We want to develop. We want to achieve double-digit growth. We want to transform. We want Uganda to be the real pearl of Africa. How are we going to get that if we don't responsibly communicate? Now, you're the experts, ladies and gentlemen, and I want us to really help each other. Let us help each other and ensure that really going forwards, we have a standard, a kind of strategy that will bind us together in seeing how we can better package our country to really be that country that is going to continuously attract investment, attract tourism, enable us as Ugandans be proud of the country that God gave us to be in.
Dr. Amina Zawedde, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, emphasized transparency and accountability in building trust among investors.
Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of our discussion today is to ensure that we acknowledge that it is very important for us to communicate, because then positively communicate, because it will create impact, positive impact. The double or triple digits we need for investment, we shall reap back, or we shall get if we are intentionally driven towards that. Then we have to be consistent in our messaging. I know one thing or one weakness we generally have as Ugandans is that we can hype something, hype, but the hype is not sustained. The other issue we have to have is transparency and accountability. On the side of government, transparency and accountability are the cornerstones of building trust with our investors.
The Director of Defense Public Information, Brigadier Felix Kulaije, highlighted National Service Program to foster a patriotic mindset among Ugandans. Brigadier Kulaije called for media fairness in favor of Uganda, urging that promoting negative stories harms the nation's reputation.
What are you communicating? Whether a journalist or a government communicator, what is it you are saying? What is it you are writing? And for who? What is your motive? Because when a journalist, you write a negative story and your country flares up, even that media house won't operate. Your own home will become not a home.
Charity Marion Imnat, UBC News.
Uganda National Oil Company has assured the public that it will give oil marketing companies the most competitive fuel prices, and it expects these to be reflected at the pumps. Now, this assurance follows commencement of UNOC's implementation of sole importation of fuel mandate. Last week, 2 vessels docked at the port of Mombasa in Kenya with 138,000 metric tons of refined petrol and diesel, all destined for Kampala. We have more in this story.
Last week, 2 fuel vessels docked at Mombasa port in Kenya as Uganda National Oil Company UNOC implemented its mandate for the sole importation of fuel. Tony Otoa, the Uganda National Oil Company Chief Corporate Affairs Officer, explains that this new development is a significant milestone to the sector and UNOC as an entity.
For the first time, a Uganda National Oil Company is doing this for the country, just to make sure that, number one, we have, secure deposits or secure oil product in our country, to make sure that at all time we have product in the country. But number two, we are cutting out what could have been a very tricky situation for most Ugandans, where we have limited access or limited control of the product coming into the country or the products within the country.
The fuel discharged into the Kenyan pipeline company's infrastructure will be delivered to storage facilities in Eldoret, Kisumu and Nakuru towns in Kenya. From there, it will be transported by tankers to Uganda. Otoa explains the previous process before this new initiative.
Before this was happening, you had a refinery company dealing with its company that then sells to Trader 1, or rather, the company is Trader 1, that sells to Trader 2, then to the oil marketing company in Kenya, which then sells to the oil marketing company in Uganda, and then to the pump. What we're simply doing is eliminate those Trader 2 oil marketing company and deal directly with the refinery company as UNOC and our partner Vito, and all the way to the Uganda marketing company. Meaning that when you have the Uganda oil marketing company dealing it, you have cut out some middlemen in there who were actually increasing a lot of the cost. And also when you think about the value chain, everyone has to make some money, right? Here we've taken out the people who are making money in the middle to do it as ourselves, as a Uganda National Oil Company.
With this new development, is there a likelihood of palm prices to drop in the country as anticipated by the public?
We are giving the oil marketing companies, the oil marketing companies, the best price, the most competitive price, and we should expect them to reflect that at their palm prices. But what we are also doing, or in addition to this as well, is making sure that we have supply, stock at all times, meaning that there is no issues of demand and supply. A lot of the time what affects prices is because the product is not in supply, and the few places that have it put it up at a higher price. This time around, what we're simply saying is that at all times we shall have products in the country.
Following the Petroleum Supply Amendment Act 2023, UNOC is now responsible for importation of all petroleum products thereafter, which are then supplied to oil marketing companies in Uganda.
We are seeing real empowerment of Uganda National Oil Company.
Joram Paul Sonko, UBC News.
The Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, has recommended people to attend exhibitions to learn new ideas and add to their developments. The Katikiro was represented by the Speaker of Buganda, Luchiko, Patrick Luanga Mugumbule, at the launch of Buganda Expo 2024, scheduled to take place from the 16th to the 25th of August at Mengo Palace.
Buganda Kingdom has launched activities ahead of 2024 Expo that will take place in August at Mengo Palace. Launching the Expo, the Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, represented by the Speaker of Buganda, Luchiko, advised people to participate in exhibitions to acquire more knowledge for development.
One-stop center. Ekifo kimu osobola okufunirawo ebintu ebirala bingi nnyo. Kakati omwoleso ogwo oguli mu lubiri nti gwojja ojja kulaba buli kalonda naye ng'ebirala gyebiri nti otuuka awo n'otunulira kino nkisangawa ne bakulagirira gy'okisanga kino kifaanana bwe kiti tiye ate kirina ekyongerwako.
The Minister for Information and spokesperson of the Kingdom, Israel Kazibwe Chitoke, said the outcomes from the exhibition will support street kids.
Omulundi guno omwoleso gutunuulidde nnyo okuddiza ku bantu b'Ekkalamojja abeetaaga obuyambi okwongera enkulaakulana n'enkolagana wakati w'Obwakabaka n'amawanga amalala. Tuzze tulaba abaana abo abava Ekkalamojja nga bajjudde ku nguudo z'omu Kampala n'embeera gye bayitamu oluusi etali nnyangu. Naye ebibala ebinaava mu mwoleso guno bigendereddwa okuyambamu abaana abo.
According to the organizer of the Expo, Moses Lubulwa, alias Luba Events, this year's Expo will attract exhibitors from Uganda and abroad.
Gugenda kuba n'aboolesi okuva mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo kubanga gugaziye. Era ssebo omwoleso we tugukolera ekifo kyaffe kye watuwa, ekifo ekyo twakigaziyiza kubanga twabadde tetusobola kujjaawo nga bwe tubadde nga bulijjo.
So I'm advising parents, children, uncles, aunties to bring their children for Expo 2024 because it's going to be bigger and better.
Some of the exhibitors have already booked places.
We have everything that you need to be able to do your farming well. We have seen that a lot of the products available for use and the agri-inputs in the market are not good. You have counterfeits, you have fake products. You don't have a place where a farmer can go to find the products that they need. So at Farmers Center, you have all the products that you need to be able to have your farming profitably.
Before the launch, there was inspection of the site and drive from Mengo Palace to Bulange, the Kingdom headquarters. The expo is scheduled to take place from the 16th to 25th August in Kabaka's Palace, Mengo. Sebira Andrew compiled this report.
Sports news now, and Uganda's Sarah Naziwa clinched a silver medal as Uganda collected 5 medals at the 2024 Uganda Para Badminton International Tournament that concluded at Lukomwa Indoor Arena. Over 200 players competed for ranking points, with India claiming most of the gold sports.
The Uganda International Para Badminton Championship climaxed on Sunday at the Lugogo Indoor Arena, and the international players dominated the top podium finish. Sarah Naziwa, the wheelchair one-star, secured Uganda the only women's single silver medal, which she lost in the final 2-1 against Brazil's Jaciliana da Silva. By a whisker, Naziwa missed to make the 2024 Paralympic Games in Paris, France, but this time round she is looking to qualify to the 2028 Games in Los Angeles, and she had this to comment about her final match and the silver medal won.
This silver medal means a lot to me, being that I'm the only Ugandan on the semi-final. That means I was the only player representing my country. So it meant a lot to me, and plus the coaches, because all of them were cheering me. Sarah, go do it for us, my teammates. So it meant a lot to me. Now I'm going back to the drawing board, do some more training so that I can come back for the next tournament very fit and to do better than I did today.
Other medalists for Uganda collected bronze, and these included Sumin, Rose Nancy Reko, Flavia Busita, and Brian Mugabe, plus Ali Mukasa, who played doubles. The most top finishers were the Indians and a few Brazilians.
And that story brings us to the end of this first edition of News Tonight this Monday, the 8th day of July 2024. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On Sign Language, it has been Yusuf, and I'm Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. See you at 10.